Hello, I'm Shona Malkinson, Head of Housing within LPFT. The presentation I'm sharing with you is regarding a piece of homelessness legislation called Duty to Refer. I will talk through the Trust's legal obligations under this duty and the process for this in Lincolnshire. The duty came into effect from the 1st of October 2018, which gives statutory duty to certain public bodies to refer service users who are homeless or likely to be at risk of homelessness within 56 days to their local housing authority. The purpose is to ensure services work together effectively to try and prevent homelessness. Also, through early intervention, services have the maximum amount of time to provide assistance and consider the best housing solutions. Here is the list of public bodies who are subject to duty to refer. You will see reference to emergency departments, urgent treatment centres and hospitals in their function of providing inpatient care. However, if you work outside of these service areas, it is still good practice to submit a duty to refer where you are aware that a person you are working with is at risk of homelessness. The homelessness legislation states that someone is defined as being threatened with homelessness if they are likely to become homeless within 56 days. The key word there being likely. Therefore, if someone has a situation such as rent arrears or has been asked to leave but with no specific date, a duty to refer can still be made. It is sometimes quite obvious to know if someone is homeless if they are clearly rough sleeping or tell you they are of no fixed abode. However, homelessness is more complex than that, and there are different factors to consider. A person can be considered homeless if it is not reasonable for them to occupy their current accommodation, for example if they are at risk of domestic abuse. If you are ever unsure whether someone may be defined as homeless, then make the referral with the person's consent, as housing authorities are still obligated to provide general housing advice, even when someone isn't at risk of homelessness. So how to make a referral? All housing authorities across Lincolnshire use a system called Alert, which is the name of the electronic system. As stated, you will firstly need to obtain the person's consent to make the referral. Then to create an account, you input your name, organisation, contact details, then the details of the person you are referring in, including an outline of their housing situation and address history. Once you have created your account on Alert, you can log back in to track progress of a referral or to submit further referrals. It really is quick and easy to do. When it comes to choosing which housing authority to refer to, it is ultimately down to wherever the person wishes to be referred. However, realistically, they are unlikely to receive any meaningful assistance from a housing authority where they do not have a local connection. In order to satisfy local connection, the person must be able to evidence they meet one of the following: through residency, not prison or hospital, for 6 out of the last 12 months or 3 out of the last 5 years, through permanent employment, so not seasonal or temporary work, through immediate family members who have resided in the district or borough for 5 or more years. This generally refers to parents, adult children, or siblings where there is a meaningful relationship. Having a family member that they do not have any contact with is not considered a meaningful relationship. Lincolnshire care leavers up to age 21 have a local connection to any of the 7 districts within Lincolnshire. And former asylum seekers whose application for refugee status has been accepted will have a local connection to the district in which they were provided accommodation under Section 95 of the Immigration and Asylum Act. There are some exceptions to local connections, such as those fleeing domestic abuse. Also, if a person has no connection to any area because they haven't had settled accommodation and have no family connections, the local housing authority that they approach should pick up the duty. Here is the link to the alert system where you can create an account and you select which housing authority you are submitting the referral to. It's worth noting that a duty to refer does not trigger a homeless application, but once received, the housing authority will make contact with the person to begin their inquiries. If you ever need to contact the Housing Authority for an update or to provide any supporting documentation and unsure of individual email addresses, all housing authorities do have a duty to refer inbox, which starts duty to refer at, then the name of the local authority.gov.uk. Useful supporting information that you can provide if you do have it in respect of the person can include things like proof of ID or local connection, copies of risk assessments or care and support plans, or any supporting medical information and/or prescriptions of medication. These documents will just help the Housing Authority to make decisions around what assistance they can provide. I will be sharing some further training tools around housing and homelessness, so look out for these. But if you have any further questions or queries, please feel free to contact me. My email address is included. Thank you.